Hey folks, Jeff from Corrugated Cavalier here. Today's video is about both Fiore's Pollaxe section and also on the importance of looking at the descriptions or glossa of the posta to figure out Fiore's preferences and some actions that he would like to do. The Pollaxe section is a really great exercise on this in my opinion. But before we get started, we just recently reached 500 subscribers, so I really want to thank everybody. It truly means a lot to me that many people are subscribed and watch these videos. I'm glad that some of you find this useful, and I really am thankful for all of my subscribers, or even some people who just pop by the channel occasionally to watch one of my videos. That's cool as well. So please, if you want to keep seeing this channel grow, click like, subscribe, and share this around right now. Comment down below. Any comments are good. Any questions, comments, or even great job, whatever it really helps out. So with that out of the way, we're going to get straight to the Pollaxe material and how I sort of went about creating my own series of actions in these past couple weeks working with it. Alright, so in my opinion, Fiore's Pollaxe section is not one of the more technical sections of the manuscript. A lot of the plays are like, push up their visors, you can stab them in the face with your poleaxe, and things like that. However, what's really useful here are the posta descriptions. Like most sections of the manuscript, he says what the posta are good at, and sometimes some example actions from them. If we kind of use this and weave in some of the plays from the Pollaxe manuscript, and also draw on some of our knowledge from other Fiore sections like sword, spear, what have you, I think you can make a pretty solid foundation for Pollaxe. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a sequence of actions that I came up with. I'm not saying it's necessarily the best sequence of action. I think you should probably make up your own, but this is just to give people some idea. I'm going to go through the posta, not necessarily in the order of the manuscript, but in the sequence of actions that I made up. So what I started with was a good old posta di donna, and I believe all versions of the manuscript have this rear weighted and the poleaxe really back here. You're gonna just come and wallop the person, right? And this is the first place where you get some really good advice. He says, pass the left foot offline to come in with a big strike at their head, and if they're not close enough you can hit their hands or arms, but I'm going for the head. So after that posta di donna attack, a lot of times we think of dente di zingaro as the end position of a pendente, right? So I'm going to go into dente di zingaro after that, which exists in the Pollaxe section as well. So now I'm in dente di zingaro. Now here I'm going to draw a little bit more on the sword posta description. So one thing that I love doing with sword is taking a little accrescere or half step in, throwing a thrust up to the face, and then coming back down with a cut to the hands or something like that, because it usually draws out some defense from them and you can attack the hands. So here I'm going to do a similar thing, but I can't really cut to the hands effectively, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm in dente di zingaro. I am going to thrust up to the face. Instead of cutting back down to the hands, I'm going to try to hook something with a little while I'm doing my little discrescere back. So thrust up to the face, try to hook something, and I turn the hook around, but you can kind of hook with the hammer side as well. Doesn't really matter. And I'm back into dente di zingaro. From here, I'm going to go into true cross or vera croce. This can either be front weighted or back weighted depending on the manuscript. I'm going back weighted here because I feel like I'm drawing back. So I just did this dente di zingaro thing. Maybe I hooked something, maybe I didn't. I'm going to draw back to vera croce, and my hands switch there. So what Fiore talks about from this vera croce is that you can do the same play as the sword, the first play of the sword and armor section, which is stepping offline, coming over their thrust to get it out of the way, and then stepping in with your own. And this puts me into the Pollaxe guard, the serpent. The serpent throws powerful thrusts, which is what I just did, but I'm gonna do another couple for good measure. The serpent. So now I'm gonna go back to sword and to some degree spear here. And this is not by the book romper or breaking the point, but I think it's a similar action. I'm going to romper, so I'm going to use the back end of my poleaxe to break something that's coming in as a defensive maneuver. And I kind of continue that with this as well. And then I just throw a thrust in posta finestra with the back end of the Pollaxe. Often we talk about it having a spike or something like that. And then I am going to go back to dente zianghiato here because I love dente zianghiato. So after this, I'm going to take the opportunity to just pop down a fendente on top of their head while I'm going into dente zianghiato. So now that I'm here, I'm going to do the same thing that I did when I was in dente zianghiato before. Strike to the base, hook something on the way out, go back to posta finestra. And now that I'm in posta finestra, Fiore says here that this is a deceptive guard and it usually passes back with the front foot to another guard to make an attack. So I'm going to pass back with this foot, kind of winding, using this defensively. Little pop with the back end of the Poleax again. And then finally, I'm going to go into the coda longa. I almost said coda longa stretta because I've been doing a lot of bolognese. So here, both here and in the sword section, Fiore says this guard is great for closing in. So this is where I'm actually going to start to get into the Poleax plays a little bit, and I'm only going to use a couple here. So before we get into the plays, I'm just going to review what I did with those guards real quick again. So I'm starting in posta di donna, step off line, big strike to the head, thrust dente zianghiato. With my descrece, I'm going to try to hook something, and then I'm going to switch hands and go back into vera croce. Vera croce, I'm going to go first place sword and armor, step off line, cover, thrust. Now I'm in the serpent. I'm going to give a couple more. Why not? And then I'm going to sort of romper with the back of my Poleax, continue that motion with the Q or the back end, step in with a thrust, and use that to gain some distance. Medrito, come down into dente zianghiato again, thrust the face, hook again, posta finestra. So this is a cover, but then I'm going to pass back deceptively, bind, thrust in with the Q again, rear weighted, coda longa, and this is where I'm going to get into the plays a little bit. So now we're into plays from the Poleax section. The first thing he wants you to do is a sort of breaking action, but it doesn't look like a thrust in the manuscript. It looks like probably a fendente, but it could be a thrust. So I'm going to break their Poleax to the ground. That's the first play. Then I'm going to continue into some of the other plays in the manuscript, but not necessarily in perfect sequence. So once I've broken this to the ground, I'm going to take the opportunity to put my Poleax between their legs, take my right hand at the back of the shaft, go like this, hopefully trip them up, put my hand in their face. He says cover their visor so they can't see, but I'm going to push on their head, right? Hopefully they get tripped up. If not, I'm going to move to one of the other plays in the Poleax section. This isn't in perfect sequence, but it's partially in sequence. So now he talks about getting them in a strong key. So I'm going to get my arm, shoot my arm under theirs, and get them in a strong key. If nothing else, if I can't break their posture, I'm at least tying up their dagger arm. So I'm going to tie up their dagger arm, draw my Poleax, grab my own dagger, and stab away. Once again, this is just a sequence that I came up with. I definitely think you should go into making your own. So once again, the plays portion of this, break their weapon to the ground, Poleax between the legs, kick it out with the right hand, shove your left hand in their face. If this does not make them fall over, strong key, reach under their right arm, tie up their dagger arm if nothing else, draw your own dagger, and stab away. So now I'm going to do this sequence in its entirety, slow, and then one time fast. All right, so there you have it, a sequence of movements from the Poleax section, really using the description of the posta and what we know from earlier sections of Fiore, such as sword, spear, etc., etc. I really think this is a good exercise to do with a lot of different sections of the manuscript. Kind of test your own understanding, see what you can come up with. To me, it's a really good mental exercise and physical exercise too. If you get a little bit of armor, even better physical exercise. Once again, thank you all so much for coming by the channel. Please click like, subscribe, share this around to people who might find it interesting. Be good to each other, and ciao.